Hi everyone, my name is Camille Maumet and I'm a research fellow at D3A based in Rennes, France. In my research, I focus on brain imaging reproducibility and in particular on the variability that is induced by different analytical pipelines. By way of an introduction, I would like to mention that I really view reproducibility and open science as two sides of the same coin, and I might use the two terms in that video. I came across open science as I started my postdoc. I was very lucky that there, finding out open sciences practices was part of my day job. Initially, to me, reproducibility was really about sharing more than research papers so that we can more easily reproduce the results that were produced in the literature. So I was thinking code sharing, data sharing, and so on. But soon enough, I realized that reproducibility and open science are much more than that. And in fact, they are moving us towards a culture of more collaborations in research. Today, I really view reproducibility and open science not only about a way to be more transparent about our research, but also about a solution to more collectively build practices that will lead to a more robust, a more collaborative, and a more inclusive research. There is a myriad of reproducibility practices, and sometimes it's difficult to know where to start. So my first key message here, and I am sure I won't be the only one sharing this one, is you do not have to do it all at once. Pick one practice, the one that is most meaningful to you, and stick to it until it becomes easy and it becomes part of your research process. In my work, I'm very interested in transparency. And that's what has been driving me in terms of open science practices. In my lab, we try to focus on practices that are mature enough so that they are easier to adopt. And today, I've decided to talk about open code. I think opening up code might be easier than other open science practices, and it increases transparency, which, as I said, is something that is very close to my heart. So in terms of open code sharing, I think there are a number of best practices that are often overlooked. I will focus on three practices. The first one is to make your code open source, and that's probably the first practice that comes to mind when we think about open code. And clearly, using an open source license is a stepping stone of making our code publicly available. But that's not the only good practice. The second good practice is to make sure that your code will remain available in the long run. When we think research papers, we want them to be available in 10 years from now. That's the same for research code. There are a number of platforms, including Software Heritage or Zenodo, that makes it possible to archive the code and make sure that they will remain available in 10 years from now. My third best practices, and this one is a bit broad, is to stick with software development best practices. Of course, this could cover a lot of good practices. I will in particular focus on one, which is having a good README where you are going to describe the entry point of your code. For instance, for my research papers, I try to always have a repository and a README that describes the steps to reproduce the main figures and results of the manuscript. With all that, I would just like to wrap up again with my first message, which is you don't have to do all the open science or reproducibility best practices at once. Pick the one that is most meaningful to you. I'm sure there will be many in these videos, and if the one you want to pick is code sharing, go for it. Thank you very much. Bye.